Welcome to Family Basics 101. I'm Dr. Bruce McClure, and as we begin the second of a five-part series entitled Marriage Is, today we will talk about marriage is forever. Simply, marriage is forever. And then we must look at marriage as being something that is looked at as a learning forever experience. So if marriage is forever, then there must be an ongoing learning experience within the relationship. According to the National Vital Statistics System, marriage is holding its own and is not becoming a thing of the past. Contrary to what people may indicate, that marriage is declining, to the contrary, it appears as if in a declining economy, it appears as if in an atmosphere where everyone wants to redefine marriage, it appears also that marriage is holding its own. In fact, from state to state, as of the data collected in the 2010 analysis of marriages in the National Vital Statistics System, only 13 states out of 50 saw a decrease in marriages from the prior year. The decrease from 12 of those 13 states range from 0.1% to only 0.3%. Nevada did show the largest decrease from 40.3% down to 38.3% in terms of the marriages. But remember, in Las Vegas, people will get married today and get divorced tomorrow. So marriage appears to be holding its own. And people are learning that marriage is for life. It appears that from coast to coast, couples continue to enter into a marriage covenant. This is across the country. And the National Vital Statistics System is showing this to be true. During the same reporting period, from 2009 to 2010, the National Vital Statistics System showed an insignificant change in the number of divorces from 2010 to 2009 as well. In essence, what was discovered is that people are staying in relationships. Factually, the 2000 divorce rate was at 8.2%, and 10 years later, the 2010 divorce rate was down to 6.8% for the total U.S. population. So what is happening, contrary to what is being reported in other areas, is marriage is holding its own, and people are learning to live together through sickness and in health, in good times and bad times, in times of prosperity as well as times of famine. From 2000 to 2010, the divorce rate has dropped from 8.2% to 6.8%. Quite an interesting statistic in an era of people saying nobody is marrying now, and marriage is not the way to go anymore. According to findings from the CDC and the National Bureau of Marriage Statistics, 42% of males and females between the ages of 15 and 44 married, and only 9% chose to live together rather than marriage. From the part of the country I'm from, we used to call living together shacking, cohabitating. But they're all three the same: living together without marriage, shacking, cohabitating. But the interesting statistic shows that only 9% of those between 15 and 44 years of age choose to live together in an unmarried state. Now, according to the CDC, men and women who live together rather than marrying have more of the following things going on in their background, which contributes to this. Number one, the persons they are living with had been in a prior marriage. So many of the individuals who are cohabitating and living together are coming from prior relationships. And there's a level of insecurity, and there's something that has happened to the trust factor in that relationship. Secondly, the person they're living with already have children. So in essence, when there's a child in play, there's a situation where people do not trust totally the other person to be the person who's going to be the permanent care provider, the permanent security person, the permanent person in that individual's life. And then thirdly, people who choose to cohabitate together typically have a history of short-lived relationships. So one of the two individuals going into the cohabitating scenario, living together, one of the two individuals have a history of instability in relationships. And rather than make a covenant commitment of marriage and learning the individual and being committed to living with the individual forever, they would rather say, look, this is short term, I know it's short term, and I would rather not be long term committed to you. Marriage is a lifelong discovery of life's ongoing change that occurs in every individual. That's why marriage is a forever learning process. Health of individuals when they marry change from year to year, and especially from decade to decade. Spiritual maturity within the individual will either increase or it could potentially decrease. The financial stability of couples could increase or it could decrease. So forever learning how to cope within those different scenarios is a lifelong journey. Children, from the inception to the time they exit the home, that's a life journey that is going to forever be a learning experience for the couples. And then as the couple ages, the husband and wife who married in their early 20s, when they're 65, 70 years old, they're going to learn that the aging does impact how they learn to live with each other, how they learn to relate to each other in those twilight years. In the book of 1 Peter chapter 3, verse number 7, Peter says, likewise you husbands dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor to the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. He in essence says, you keep on learning. You keep on dwelling with them according to knowledge. And that is forever learning. I'll see you back in class again next time. Don't be late and don't skip class.